Hi, Dave here, and today we're going to check out the work of Amama L. So this person actually doesn't have any other links aside from the ArtStation one, so we're going to have to deal with just this username. So maybe this guy just wants to be anonymous or something, but it's cool because yeah. Since I've actually recently wanted to kind of get more into character design, I've been interested in seeking or kind of taking note of artists that I want to kind of reach when it comes to style or just quality in terms of my character designs. Because I do want to explore that side even more, and I do think Amama L is a great example of kind of finishing or developing an illustration a bit more. What's so cool is that it isn't super fine, or he doesn't. I'm going to say he. I'm assuming this guy is a dude just because of the the content, but yeah, I do think he's able to bring it into a level where it's not super fine. I mean, it's a way more refined than I would do it. Thankfully, for example, for this piece, he does have like a step-by-step thing. He starts off with a rough kind of sketch, determining the pose, and just focusing more on the composition of the whole painting. And then he does like what you would expect, or what I would expect I would be able to do, focusing heavily on like flat coloring, where you're just kind of laying down the main values or hues. But it's actually the next three steps, like this one, and this one, that like it's these three phases, I guess, that really kind of bring this into a more refined level. And you kind of want to develop this side as well, like these last remaining steps, because I often find that if ever I develop something, they end up stopping here, or maybe just a bit here, you know, like it doesn't go all the way. And maybe it's a patience thing or something, but I feel like he knows also when to stop, because even in his kind of fuller illustrations, I do like seeing the way he still shows off the brushstrokes. Because often, if you kind of see, now this one is actually kind of hard to see the brushstrokes, but he does have like a lot of like character designs where he does still show the brushstrokes, and he doesn't overly define everything, right? So this one's actually more of a splash art kind of piece. And maybe one day this could be something I would be interested in doing, but right now I just want to explore the idea of being able to make my own character designs. And yeah, I feel he's also a great example of coming up with concepts. Now this one is actually one of his older pieces. The style is a bit different. It has more variety in terms of the hues. If you kind of zoom in, you can see a bit of greens and blues and reds everywhere. The style definitely is, he's a bit simpler now in terms of the way he paints. He doesn't utilize like a lot of variety in terms of hues. But yeah, in terms of his anatomy, pretty good, obviously. And he's also pretty good with the faces. You know, he does have like a bit of a stylized kind of thing, but he does know how to bring it to a more realistic level. This actually looks like Sia. But yeah. And I want to be able to reach this kind of level of art, right? Again, in terms of my characters. He doesn't have like a lot of environment design. He does have like one piece. It's more of a storytelling narrative kind of scene. But he can technically if he wants to, but he does focus more on like character designs. And even in this with this kind of android thing or cyborg, the face looks pretty cool, even if this is more of like a giant. Like it's not technically the main thing, or it's kind of the main focus, but I just want to be able to reach this kind of so right now I think I'm just fangirling over this artist, right? He does have like a few grayscale kind of concepts, and I think it's very useful because it kind of takes away the need to, like, it takes away an extra step, so it helps you kind of focus more on the design, I guess. And I do recommend to check out his ArtStation because it does have like a lot of these. Now this one is actually more textured, more rendered. Like you can actually feel the forms more compared to this one. It's closer to more of a flat kind of style. And you can still kind of feel a bit of form, but it's not super like this, where it's more defined, where it just feels more 3D, right? This one feels more like a quick kind of concept thing. And again, it's cool because he can like do this and he can like bring it to this level, and he can also bring it to a more like refined level like this. And yeah, pretty cool stuff. Again, he does focus more on character designs, and I haven't seen like a lot of sketches like the first one here. Shit. Like he usually just shows off the grayscale paintings most of the time, for his kind of concepts. But yeah. And again, the way he does the faces, even when he does the faces, there's a bit of an expression in them. It's not just like a generic kind of face. And they're all kind of different from one another. Right? For these concepts, the faces are or do differ from one another. And they're not even super detailed. And it kind of makes sense because obviously it's more about the full kind of character here. And I think the artist here is just kind of testing out different concepts. And I do love the kind of shape design here. The silhouette of the whole thing is like each of them have like an empowering kind of silhouette. They're obviously dudes, some kind of fighters, right? Very buff, big forearms. And yeah. And the anatomy is pretty good. The abs, right? The obliques, the chest, the clavicles here, the traps, a bit of the lats, the shoulders, the biceps, right? And again, this one's actually more of it's more rendered. It feels more like form-ish. Like you can feel more of the form in this one. For these two, in the kind of torso area, it's a bit flat. And although in the forearms, he does develop them a bit more to be more form-ish, right? And it's so cool being able to do these sort. It's not a complete kind of illustration, obviously, but it looks good for a concept, you know, for concepts, right? So even for these ones, right? Very strong shape design here, and yeah, I think he or she is a great standard to kind of look up to, right? And I like seeing the brushstrokes here, where it's a bit dashy, right? Because it feels more like I can feel more of the art when I can see the brushstrokes. And he does this thing also where he doesn't complete the entire rendering. He'll leave a part to just like in silhouette form. For example, in this sword or in this kind of leg, he'll just leave it more to a flat kind of look, and then he'll just focus on like 80% maybe is a bit rendered, and then there's like a special 10% that's kind of just left as a silhouette, and it has an appeal, right? Now obviously I'm more interested in like babes, so how do I want to be able to do this sort of thing, right? And his edge control, like look at the knees here, Jesus. And he usually does that. He leaves the part as a silhouette, usually in the feet or in the legs, like the lower leg. It kind of makes sense because obviously most of his characters are kind of standing, right? And even in the back part of this kind of floral design here, it's more of a silhouette, right? Even for the hair of this kind of chick, it's kind of like a hair, like thing. And again, he's pretty good with the faces. He does know how to put some expressions in them, right? And they're both different. It's not just one generic face. And I'm very interested in being able to, because a lot of things are or help contribute to the character, right? The fashion, the pose, the facial expression, the face, like the way it's formed, the silhouette, the shape design. I want to just get good at that sort of thing. And again, it's in grayscale, so I'm pretty sure he has like a method of coloring this eventually. This one's pretty cool. Like she can kind of power these two arms, so that's kind of nice. Oh, look at this dog though. Christ. You can really feel the form of this one. And it feels kind of it kind of reminds me of the strokes of Victor Hugo Harmatuk. He's a Brazilian concept artist. I did an art review of his work in the art review series that I have here on YouTube. Again, this babe is awesome. I love the hairstyle, and even the hairstyle contributes to the character, right? And obviously she's a bit like the stockings and the very openness in terms of her fashion, right? But this one feels like smart, kind of competent, on time kind of person. This one's more of a slacker, but kind of gets the job done anyway. You know what I mean? And I want to be able to communicate that, and at the same time make it look good. I mean, these are only like grayscale paintings, but Christ, look at these arms. He didn't even like paint every single finger, right? He just left it like as a shape, and then he did kind of focus more, like it's heavily a silhouette for this hand, right? He did develop these ones more, although in the fingers here, it's again more of a silhouette. The upper arm is a bit more developed, and you can actually feel the biceps and the forearm muscles and shit. And some of the knuckles here in the hand, so it feels more like a form, right? It's so cool. Even the elbow looks pretty cool, right? And the concept itself, like everything just kind of makes sense for this guy. And the heels, nice. And they're so gentle, right? Like it's not harsh. The poses aren't harsh. It's kind of easy on the eye. Like the composition itself is pretty, not just the actual like figures in it. So now these are more nun types with stockings. Awesome. Heavier on the blacks on this one compared to this. This one's heavily on the grayscale side. This one does have a bit of black in it, so the contrast is going to be a bit more, well, stronger obviously. And some parts are a bit more rendered, like the book, some of the attire, right? But again, this could actually be the same character. Are they the same character? Maybe not. Oh yeah, they have like different like headdress designs. So even in the back of this kind of Gatling gun, I'm assuming it's a bit it's like a cross, and it's left just as a silhouette. And again, with the whole like lower leg shoes thing, it's heavily on the silhouette side, and he mostly focuses on the top part of the figure, right? Now this one's actually a bit different. It's a bit smoother for me. It reminds me of the work of Sakimi-chan. She likes this kind of highly, it almost looks like it's hard to see the strokes, and there's a lot of like soft brush use or gradient use. Like there's a lot of like smooth transitions, and he doesn't. This guy or this chick, I actually don't know the gender or the gender of this artist, but this person, sorry, doesn't really do this as much. Like a lot of their, I'll just say a lot of their work is heavy in terms of the strokes, right? There is obviously some good edge control, so maybe this person is using some kind of mixer brush, I would assume. But look at that midpoint in the chest. Jeez, it's so fine. Like you can tell the edge of it, right? And seeing that kind of rendering approach where it's a bit I think that's what makes the work a bit more refined. Learning how to handle the edges, but at the same time learning how to smooth things out. I'm going to assume the mixer brush is being used for the smoothing part. I think that's what makes the work kind of refined, but it's kind of complemented with this kind of style where it's a bit more strokey, where you can see the brush strokes more, and I actually like both. But I obviously don't want it to be like too smooth, right? I want to see the brush strokes, because it's more of a personal kind of preference, but for this piece, it's mostly in the fashion attire thing and the sword, right? It's so pretty. And yeah, this it's obviously smoother in the skin area, and even this hand, like the way the edge was done, or the edge control was done, like you can tell where the cuts are, and you can feel like which fingers are in front, just because the values are right and the edge. Like this cut right here, this kind of light value is it shows a bit of fat just under the four fingers, right? And that's super cool seeing that sort of thing. And even if this area, like the face and this kind of body is smooth, you can still see the brush strokes. So maybe that comes with the mixer brush. So there's a bit of like texture in them anyway. So it's not super smooth if you zoom in, right? So I want to have the kind of same thing eventually in my work. Yeah, this one's more of a portrait thing. Demon. And I love how the ears are glowing, because there's kind of some kind of light source coming from behind this person, right? And it's a bit there's a bit of realism in the way the figures, the characters are kind of painted. Even obviously there's a bit of stylization. Shit. It's obviously stylized, but because of the way it's rendered, like it's more realistically rendered, right? It kind of leans to that side. But the style, the proportions of it has a bit of style in them, right? Oh shit, even the bottom fat coming from the bottom lip, right? A bit of fat. And even this puffiness just stopping in the kind of side or in the end of this kind of lip coming from the cheek, right? That bit of fat puffiness. Super cool seeing that sort of thing, right? And even this kind of corner here where the socket of the eye kind of happens. Shit. That's so pretty. Even the ears look really cool and they look pretty. Oh shit. Everything is pretty. Now this one's obviously a close-up, but you can still see the brush strokes. Even if it's smoothly kind of rendered, it has a nice kind of textured look, right? Awesome. Same thing for this one. Even though it's kind of maybe the mixer brush was definitely used. Hard to say, but maybe, or maybe not. And he does use the brush kind of tip or the brush shape to help with the strands. Especially, you can see it especially in this kind of area. So it helps to have a brush that has kind of a sponge-like kind of look, where it has like multiple dots in them, you know. And obviously it can replicate like a normal brush stroke, so it's also used obviously for, or it's easier to use it for hair as well, right? And again, the edge control, this bit of chin, bit of fat underneath the bottom lip, this point right here, the points right here where the lips end or kind of connect, you can see a bit of fat or an indication of fat. The shadow underneath the nose, I mean, the edges are so well done, you know. And again, even though there's a bit of, you could tell it's kind of stylized, but the way it's rendered, it's leaning into realism, right? Oh, he has a lot of shots like this where it's just one character, and he does bring it to a more, not to a refined level, but again, if you kind of zoom in, you can still see the brush strokes, which I do like seeing, especially say in this part right here. You can even see the brush spacing, which is, it does give its own texture in the end, so that's kind of nice. But again, the edge control, like you can tell which or where the leg kind of starts and where the, oh shit, there's a bit of like you can see the back part of the butt. Shit, the butt is in the back part. You can see the bottom part of the butt, right? That's a nice touch, right? So the anatomy is also pretty good. A bit of exaggeration, obviously, but even this hand right here is left as a silhouette, right? Maybe a photo bash of some kind of tattoo, And whenever he or she does photo bash, it's very tasteful. Oftentimes it gets painted over anyway, and it doesn't decide much. Like the main controlling factor here is the artist, so that's usually what I'm going for anyway, to be more in control of my own work, right? Instead of the photos, right? Or some kind of a 3D model base, right? A bit of stylization in the face. However, it's kind of left flat. The rendering happens in the eyes, the nose, and the mouth, and a bit in the neck, but the rest is kind of left flat. And you have to find a nice kind of balance when I think Cynic's design talked about this when painting anime, or when painting something in anime. You have to be careful with going full realism because it's not always going to look as good. So you have to maybe stop in between. So, because I've seen a lot of like digital paintings that concern kind of anime characters, they don't fully render like the anime to such a to this kind of level where it's heavy on where it's heavy on the form. They usually stop just before this, so it's kind of like a flat illustration but with some suggestion of form, kind of like this one, right? That's usually how it's done for the most part. But obviously you can kind of take it to this level, but it won't always look good. So you have to be a bit careful, I guess. Oh shit, we skipped. Oh, okay, we're here. So you can tell. I love this, seeing the sorts of brush strokes. You can actually see a bit of canvas texture coming off the brush. And here maybe it was actually photo bashed but painted over. I'm just guessing here, but and maybe this was done in a new kind of layer to just be safe. And obviously, excuse me, Jesus, this kind of fabric here, the see-through kind of thing, was done in another layer just to be safe. Wow, right? So if this person wanted to, they could be like a fashion illustrator as well, because it's pretty cool anyway. And even the tip of this sword is a bit rendered. Now I'm guessing this was photo bashed or something. I can't say, but it's pretty cool. And again, the folds, he's pretty good with the whole folds thing. And again, the anatomy and the abs, like you could tell which part is which, like where the pelvis is. And look at that bit of fat where the leg kind of meets the crotch area. This kind of separation. You can see that nice cut behind this kind of see-through belt, I guess, or this thing. But yeah, it feels form-ish, right? And a bit of muscle here, I guess. So a lot of edge control happening here. Oh, look at that floral design here. Oh wow, in the bottom of this dress. Wow. So it's kind of repeating the same thing from this forearm here and bringing it onto the actual sweater thing. Now this one's more of a print, but this one's actually like part of the design, like the physical design of this sweater. Super cool. And again, the anatomy is good. The rendering is good. Yeah. And the hair does also contribute to the way the character is perceived. So, and look at those eyebrows. Whoa. Now this one's a dude. Very red. A lot of floral designs happening here. And I do recommend you download his photos or her photos and zoom in. Or just open in a new tab and zoom in, because you can see more of the brush strokes, and I think that's where you can really appreciate the work. And look at how well done it is, right? It looks kind of oil-ish and gouache-ish at the same time. And I do like that more opaque look sometimes. It just feels more full than something that's more opacity driven. where you can actually see a lot of the brush strokes and, you know, like see the round brush, stuff like that. Seeing this kind of style is like they're meant to be prints or something, right? Damn. Even the bird looks cool. Whoa. And it does have like a lot of characters like this, where it's one character but brought to a very, not a super refined level, but it's definitely refined, you know? You can still see a bit of the brushstrokes, some kind of abstraction in the forms, some simplification, but you can still like, well, you can still feel the roundness of things, right? The actual form. It's so cool looking. So this kind of thing in the back is actually a see-through thing, probably done in its own layer, just to be safe. And look at those hands. It's not super contrasted, but it does have enough to help kind of distinguish the fingers from the palm, and you know, yeah. And yeah. Oh, I love the back dimples thing. And even the back, there's this kind of cut in the back, because usually there's this kind of nice cut in the back, in the midsection, or not midsection, but in the midline of the back, in the spine. So he was able to do that edge control thing, where one side is sharper and one side is kind of smooth. Again, in the dimples, he was able to achieve that. So I'm guessing this red is not painted. It's actually like a latex thing. Oh yeah, it is. You can see this bit of fat being pushed up from the tightness of this, from the tightness of this kind of stocking thing. I mean, it's details like this that really make it look realistic. Adding that to the way it's rendered, where it feels more form-ish, like you can feel the 3D. Like this chick is like packed, you know, like she has mass, right? And again, the face still good. It's so high quality. This one's more of like a straightforward kind of design sheet or page. Here he does show off the feet, but it's a bit simplified. You can see like the triangle pyramid kind of form, and he didn't even like render the toes. It's kind of, because it's not the main thing. Usually he would just leave it as more of a silhouette if he's doing more like character shots in different kind of views, to kind of save time, I guess. But here you can see the way he renders the forms again. Oh, here in this part of this kind of robe, it's more of a silhouette, and here he does render things a bit more. This one has a pretty kind of high exposure, so it's hard to see the details within this area. But if you see it from afar, you can see like the main shapes in it. So it still has a bit of an impact, right? And even in this part of the robe, it's just a silhouette. He just kind of maybe used some kind of clipping mask to kind of add this kind of light area, right? Super cool. Ooh! And he has like a fashion sense, or she has a fashion sense, right? In this part of the leg, it's more of a silhouette with a bit of soft brush use. There's a bit of application in this area as well with these highlights, and in the knee area. Although you can see more of the brush strokes in the say the hand, right? Although it's still mostly a silhouette, even in this hand. And maybe this part was photobashed or something. Maybe. And look at how the hair was simplified. With some edge control to kind of separate like chunks of it. Oh, I think he used a similar kind of character and just kind of changed the design, right? Yeah, because the face seems familiar. Oh, he has like a few pieces where I think he was doing some kind of studies, or shit. And these ones feel more painterly. A lot more texture in these ones. Wow. So maybe some mixer brush. I'm guessing he did, or I'm guessing the mixer brush was used in some areas for the blending. Damn. And look at how the nose was simplified, right? Most of the... the values in the nose are very close to each other, but it still feels like a nose, right? There's a bit of like line work here to suggest the ends of it, of the shape of the nose. So it's not like a complete painting, but like you can see a bit of line work, some vague kind of suggestive line work. It's more of a study, I guess, but damn. Even the hands are kind of suggested, very abstract or very impressionistic, which I always like. And I think the artist here was just trying to change up the style, I guess, or trying to test something out. And I love seeing textures like this coming off the brush. It just helps make it look a bit more traditional, right? Seeing those textures and shit. And here you can see most of the a lot of the brush spacing, right? So some mixer brush use here. Oof. This part right here reminds me of some kind of Russian artist. He does have like a YouTube channel, and he does focus on like babes. Usually they have like they're usually looking down, and he does them in like traditional oils, and they feel so majestic, kind of like this one, like this part right here, especially the face, like the way the lighting is done, where the face is not fully lit, and you can see like a lot of reflected lighting. It just feels so soft and awesome. And it's a nice contrast, like the face is soft and then everything else is kind of like rough, right? And very kind of direct. So this one's more of an anime kind of style. So maybe this chick turns into a cat or something. Meow meow meow. So seeing this kind of like this guy can basically do anything. Yeah. This one does remind me of Ruwan Jia. In terms of the design, but again, this Amama L person can paint, and I like seeing the brush strokes again, even though it's kind of refined or finished looking. Seeing the kind of strands from the brush looks cool, and to me, it has a bit of an appeal. And I lean more to the more textured stuff than the more smoother types of illustrations or paintings. And I believe the lens correction filter was being used here, where you have this kind of shift of green and red, right? Or blue and red. Oh, this one's pretty cool. You can see more of the strokes. Maybe a photo was used in the beginning as a base. I'm just guessing because this one feels like a photo to me. Hard to say, but damn, look at that. You know, again, I do suggest you zoom in on the work and see the brush strokes. I mean, look at the way the forms are kind of rendered out here. The values aren't even too like sharp or too kind of far away from each other. They're pretty close. This kind of texture is more of like she's wearing kind of like a matte sort of texture. And so you're not going to see like sharp highlights and shit. And it goes all the way to the neck and over the top of the head. You can see a bit of hair here. And maybe there's a bit of photo bashing. It's really hard to say because it's so blended well. Maybe a bit. That's hard to say. But again, I like seeing the brushstrokes everywhere. You can still feel it's painted, but it's something that's very, very kind of high level. I mean, you could basically turn this into some kind of print, right? Or cover for some kind of album or book. Damn. And again, very pretty kind of face. So, that's always a good thing. And look at the separation of the abs. The abdomen from the like side torso. Fuck. Even the elbow looks nice. Okay. So this one's more of a schoolgirl with some cyber. Oh shit! It's not exactly like a. It's armor, I guess, because you can kind of see her fingers here. Maybe. Yeah. And you can see like a nice cat in the bottom. Wonderful folds here. Oof. Damn. And here you can see more of the opacity in the brush. So this one is actually not super opaque, like his more like these, right? Where they're more textured, and you can see more of the canvas kind of texture. This one is actually more opacity kind of driven, where you can see like the strokes beneath, and you can see the kind of nice build-up. It also has its appeal, but I always seem to go back between the more opaque kind of look and the more opacity kind of look, right? And this one is the scene it's the only environment I found in his or her art station, and it's heavily on the narrative side, more about storytelling. This was pretty cute. Some kind of demon baby, and you can see like a nice cross. Oh shit! There's a knight here, or some kind of angel, right? And he's kind of watching over, maybe spying over this big baby, and maybe the baby's reading some kind of secret ancient textbook. And it's just so big. Oh, you can see some baby wings here in the back. Pretty cute. Oh my god! There's a person here, Jesus! You can't really see it, but you have to like kind of step back. This is the eye, this is the nose, this is the mouth. You can see some fangs, right? Whoa! And you can see some hair here. Oh, you can see like the hand. Okay. Now that is epic. Lots of storytelling going on here. Pretty cool. Oh, and you can see some environment design here a bit. This one feels like a full-on illustration. Fuck. But again, I'm more interested in his or her character design. Again, with the silhouette thing in the bottom, you don't need to render everything. This one, obviously more on the opaque side, with that kind of with the canvas texture kind of look. Lots of brush strokes. Great kind of shape design. Very cool in terms of the folds. Again, I do recommend you zoom in so you can appreciate it more. I love this kind of a cut here, because it's kind of folded here by design, right? And look at this coat here. Damn! These folds are amazing. It helps to have reference, obviously. And the hands are kind of simplified, right? And even the face adds a bit of character. Just kind of looking at you, the pose, everything just kind of fits together. And not everything is kind of fully done 100%. Like the anatomy, the hair, the pose, the expression, the fashion, the rendering, they're all kind of balanced. So like there is no one thing that's really taking all of the attention. Maybe the face obviously a bit, because you're going to obviously always go for the face when seeing characters, but like nothing is kind of invading your eye, you know? It's kind of luring you in slowly, you know? Ooh! That kind of shoulder over the mouth. Ooh! Very, very kind of... Lots of character storytelling here. Damn, look at that arc though. In the back. It's a bit sharp. And I'm always happy when people like really do good knees. Especially kind of in the back. Like, there's this bit of fat here, or not fat. Is it muscle? Tendon? No idea, but being able to see that cut is such a cool thing to see. It reminds me of the work of Input Woe, or My Input Woe. I did an art review of his work also. He does focus more on like line work with some basic rendering. But he does the same thing with the back of the knees. So well done. And again, very heavy on the shapes. I'm pretty sure Amama L does use layers, like maybe a sketch to start off with, and then he'll clean or make a silhouette out of that and clean up the silhouette, and then maybe a paint over within that silhouette through some kind of clipping mask, perhaps. That's just my guess, but yeah. I love the face. It's a nice balance between a stylized kind of look and a realistic kind of rendering or painting, right? One day. I'm getting there one day. Oh damn, now this one has a bit more butt in it, right? And I'm not sure why the feet are like this, or why maybe it's some kind of shoe design. It reminds me of one of those Japanese types of like slippers where they're like wooden or something. But yeah. But again, heavy on the silhouettes, right? And then it starts to kind of become more form-ish because of the rendering. And you don't even have to be super refined with the anatomy. You just need to know like the chunks of it, the main chunks, and you're essentially there. Because sometimes I get too lost, like over analyzing shit. But you can simplify a lot of things, in terms of like shape and form. Even the sword is just one silhouette, and you could tell a clipping mask was used for this one. And even this kind of thing here, the knot thing here, where it's kind of in the handle, no shit. Heavy on the shapes. Even the hair design looks cool. This one's more of a back view. Oh, look at those folds though. It's a bit see-through, kind of. Or maybe there's some kind of lighting behind this character, right? Damn, look at the bottom part. Oh my god, look at those folds, one after another. I'm kind of jealous, but maybe not jealous, I'm inspired, right? And hopefully you're feeling the same way. I do recommend you follow this person on ArtStation. Even you could actually, it gets kind of tighter in the back a bit. You can see those back muscles, so damn. Nice kind of pose in the head. You can see a bit of the the dress is a bit see-through. You can see the back part a bit. This kind of cut, this midline, right? And this is kind of the combination of all of them. Whoa, damn, pretty cool stuff. And I've made a list of like artists that like for each category that I want to kind of improve on. I have like environment heavy artists, world building kind of artists, where they're kind of all around. And I also have the character artists, and I would put Amama L in that category, just to kind of raise my standards, right? Cause Christ, damn. So maybe a bit of photo bashing. I can't really say. It's really hard to say. But the folds are amazing. And again, the whole silhouette thing, you don't have to render everything, right? You can leave certain parts to just a silhouette and maybe add a few like hue variation or some bit of texture, and that's pretty much it. I look at how she simple shit, how the hair was simplified here, right? They're just a bunch of shapes with some value variation, some highlights here where it gets pretty contrasted. And I like seeing that bit of texture, the canvas noise texture. Adds a bit of grit to the painting. A bit of a see-through effect in the shoulder area here. Maybe some kind of mixer brush was used to achieve this kind of soft look. And I'm just kind of guessing there. Damn. Looks amazing. Maybe there was some kind of photo bashing here, I'm assuming. And But it doesn't really matter because it's so well blended, right? So it helps to have like top tier painting skills in the first place, like Amama L. Whoa! And this is kind of the last piece we have of Amama L's work. Reminds me of 02, just because of the colors and the white hair, right? And even like the makeup, because I know 02 in the Darling in the Franxx anime show, she has a bit of eyeshadow. I have no idea. She has a bit of a red thing near the eye. Anyway, maybe some photo bashing when it comes to this texture, because you can see the bit of a pixelatedness, and then you can obviously see some paint overs over that to kind of blend it in properly. And I like how the hand is kind of simplified, but you can still tell how the hand is kind of formed anyway, even though it's not fully rendered. And that's the point or the thing I have to kind of remember. It doesn't have to be fully rendered to be understood, you know? But you still need to have that solid understanding of how it should look. So it actually looks, it can actually kind of make sense when you kind of look at it, right? And obviously the texture here is pretty cool. It has a latex kind of texture. So some highlights were kind of added in. And look at how the feet were kind of simplified. Very cool stuff. So just knowing how the mass of the foot is kind of done is kind of enough. And that goes for every kind of body part, I guess. Right? The shoulder kind of pose thing where it's kind of raised up is always a cool thing. And the hair design, pretty nice. And the face, look at how the face, if you kind of zoom in more, you can see the edge control there, the nose, and the eye area, where you can actually see more of the socket side. So well done. Even the mouth, the lips, shit. So yeah, that's it for this review of Amama L. I do recommend you check out the ArtStation portfolio and follow the account. And if you're trying to get into character design, I do recommend this person's artwork. I do think it's going to inspire you. And yeah, I do suggest you kind of zoom in into the work, and see more of the, because you can see more of the brush strokes and how it was done. And just seeing the areas of like, you can actually see some brush spacing in some of the brush work. And it's just so cool seeing that, because you can tell that it's painted, you know? And I think it can really bring out the artist in you if you see the way it's done close up, right? Shit. So yeah, that's it for this art review. Keep drawing, keep painting, and stay free.